Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Enjoy the video. Hey YouTubers, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion video. So before I get this started, we did a video on MJ's channel. I'm not sure if it's actually up right now, so I'm going to leave a link to MJ's channel in the description section below to anyone who wants to go and subscribe to him and look out for this video. But in this video, we talked about Jiren and whether or not he's making a vital mistake in the way he's approaching the Tournament of Power in episode 111 after he takes out Hit, and he's looking at Goku and he says, "Every person I was here to take care of, I've taken care of, and now the rest is up to Dispo and Topo." And obviously we all know that he's making a vital error there. Obviously Goku isn't done yet, Vegeta's still on the ring, Gohan has been being built up, Frieza's still there, the Namekians are there for Piccolo. I mean, there's just so many things that could potentially happen that can upset this tournament and people can get massive power-ups or something. I mean, come on, there's even 6 Saiyans there to do some kind of a ritual if need be. So if you look at that particular situation, you have to ask yourself first, why does Jiren believe that Goku and Hit were probably the only people that he was actually there to take out? First of all, I guess we can all talk about Goku when he fought Topo in the preliminary matches. Topo warned him that if Goku could barely beat him, or Topo, then he had no shot against actually beating someone like Jiren. Jiren is just kind of an unstoppable force at this point, and as goes to show, the last couple episodes of Dragon Ball Super have really proven that point pretty ferociously. And at the same time, you have to wonder, well, why was he anticipating Hit to be such a formidable opponent? One of the things you could say is potentially seeing Hit use the Tokudobashi early on in the tournament, using it to save people like Caulifla or any of his other teammates, and at the same time, seeing how Hit was able to adapt and actually beat Dispo, and also getting an idea of exactly what the Tokudobashi was actually like during that particular fight. Maybe he just decided that the assassin from Universe 6 was someone who was a formidable enough opponent that he had to take them out and not necessarily leave it up to Dispo or Topo. At the same time, you could say just because the Pride Troopers like Jiren and Topo seem to be so close to the god of creation and gods of destruction in Universe 11, then they probably had the same situation which Gowasu and Zamasu had in the last arc of Dragon Ball Super, where they were actually watching on GodTube the last tournament between Beerus and Champa, and they actually got to see someone like Goku and Hit fight. And obviously, back then, you didn't necessarily have Vegeta being as strong as he is now. Vegeta has gotten some major power-ups since the last tournament arc when we were in the Future Trunks arc, which wasn't necessarily, at least from our knowledge, wasn't documented on GodTube because it was in a completely different timeline. So maybe he's not necessarily looking at someone like Vegeta. At the same time, if they are looking at GodTube, maybe they're not necessarily looking at someone like Frieza, because Frieza wasn't necessarily shown or having shown Frieza come back for Katsuno F arc. Like we all said at the very beginning, that was more like a weekend thing. Like he kind of came back and then he was completely gone and they didn't necessarily register his power. He didn't cause a whole lot of destruction. At the same time, you have Gohan essentially coming back during that particular fight, but he had a hard time at the preliminary matches, but he's come a long way since then. So Jiren is not necessarily looking at these fighters as if they're really there to stop him or if they could stop him, but he might be making a fatal flaw. And I honestly think, and I have to give them some huge credit here, one of the things that they did very early on that we can't forget about when it comes to Jiren and his involvement with fighting anyone in this particular tournament is with Kale. And I know a lot of people thought, okay, Kale's just this Broly rip-off character, legendary Super Saiyan Berserker mode type of Dragon Ball Super Saiyan. I mean, honestly, it was weird at the time. We weren't necessarily sure what to expect. But lo and behold, I think Kale has had so much more of an impact and has shown us the potential reality of the Dragon Ball Super Tournament of Power so much that it's kind of crazy that we were all doubting her so much. I mean, I will kind of reserve my criticism for her, obviously. I feel like Caulifla might be a better character, but Kale has definitely done more for everything going into this particular arc than Caulifla or Kaba or almost anyone from even Universe 7. And what do I mean by that? Well, I already made a video about this way long ago in episode 100 when we had Kale basically going berserk on everyone. And one of the things I really loved about that is that she completely reshaped the entire landscape for the Tournament of Power ring. When it was just a flatline top, now it's really just kind of mountains and valleys. And we see the effects of that as we watch this show from week to week to week. Obviously, the Tournament of Power has a lot more depth to it when people are fighting and they're able to jump off of mountains and jump off of landscapes the same way over the last couple episodes has made it a lot better to watch. But at the same time, Jiren was actually one of the people who had to go out and stop Kale from berserking all over the place. He actually felt like he had to get involved and he couldn't leave it up to then. Pretty much every single Pride Trooper was still in line. So it's just really interesting to consider the fact that even though Jiren is making this mistake, and we all know he's making this mistake, he is actively ignoring that he's seen one person like Kale have such a major power boost in this particular fight. And we all know, and as he seemed to imply, he kind of understands or registers, even if it was an insult, Saiyans, when backed into a corner, are ruthless people. And apparently, you know, with the universe on the line and 6 Saiyans still in the tournament, along with Frieza, along with 3 Namekians, he is making a huge mistake. And it's really interesting if you think of the fact that Kale, out of everyone that we were anticipating throughout this entire tournament, has really kind of laid the groundwork that Jiren is absolutely making a huge mistake when it comes to sitting down and meditating, because she shows that very quickly someone can become a big enough opponent where he would have to step in. And if he's not paying attention, he might just lose. And I'm not saying it's going to be Kale. It could be Gohan. It could be Kaba. It could be Caulifla. It could be Piccolo fusing with the Namekians in order to give them a chance. It could be so many other things. Vegeta can have an amazing new technique, which I've said over my last couple videos, or Frieza, who he's not necessarily paying attention to, because Frieza hasn't shown even the beginnings of his massive power that we saw, and how he's been seriously not afraid of anything, not Beerus, not even Zeno. He's been cursing the Zenos under his breath. So there's just so much here that Jiren is not necessarily seeing, that he feels arrogant at this point. And I understand that this is why he is kind of the antagonizing force, and he's not necessarily someone that we're supposed to be rooting for or cheering for. But when you break it all down like this, I personally think that this is one of the cooler things about the Tournament of Power, about Kale's character, and really makes me excited about what we're going to see. It's just another one of those things that they're laying the groundwork for in order to give us someone transforming, or someone presenting some kind of power or technique that we have never seen before. And if you're being worried at all, considering the fact that Hit's already out, or we've seen Goku have an amazing fight already, this is just the beginning, guys. The tournament is only halfway done, and we just absolutely know there's so many more twists and turns coming on. I mean, personally, we know that certain people are coming in. We know that certain things are going to happen. I'm not going into any real details or spoilers right now, because I didn't say spoilers at the very beginning of the video, so I've been trying to keep it incredibly vague. I'm not necessarily trying to give anything away, but based on what we've seen, I just want to make it clear that they're already laying the groundwork for everyone who's going to be coming in and showing off new power, new transformations, new techniques. I wouldn't be surprised if Vegeta, Frieza, anyone else has something up their sleeve that we're not necessarily supposed to be seeing at this point, and they're going to bring it to the table when they get pushed into the corner, be it by Toppo, Dispo, Jiren, or anyone else from any of the other universes. And I cannot wait for that. I hope everyone else is incredibly excited. I know we're all really excited for this going forward. But with that being said, guys, I want everyone to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts on this. Do you think Kale, because of all this, just makes it feel like way more of an important character for the tournament arc? What are your thoughts on anyone getting transformations, showing new techniques? What do you think those techniques would actually be? Do you think that Jiren's making a huge mistake when it comes to sitting down and meditating and leaving this all up to Toppo and Dispo, when they have shown that they are pretty incompetent and they're not necessarily capable of taking almost everyone else that we know of? And we know that Vegeta could probably take out Toppo. A lot of people want to see that fight. If Vegeta can do it, then potentially Frieza can do it. So Universe 7 still has a really strong team, even if Goku's out right now, or it doesn't have the power to compete against everyone. At the same time, do you feel like he might be there? Like, is he right? Is none of this actually going to happen? Or what are your thoughts on Jiren just in general? Anything else like that? Please make sure to leave a comment about that in the comment section below. Please make sure to hit that bell over by the subscriber button. That's going to notify you every single time I upload. And with that being said, guys, I hope everyone has a good day. It's been real. Hey YouTubers, if you guys like movies, television, and box office numbers, then make sure to go check out my second channel where I discuss all of that stuff in gruesome detail, especially since we cover a whole lot of horror movie stuff over there and a lot of horror shows and everything else like that. So guys, if you want to hear more of my discussion topics that's not necessarily Dragon Ball related, then make sure to join me over there. I hope you guys enjoy the video.